I have 3 different edge types on these tools. A knife is basically 2 planes that come to a sharp point. And just for the sake of discussion, there's no secondary bevel there. So that's the knife. The chisel has a flat side and a side with a bevel on it. And that's the same with the woodworking tool as well. So a chisel edge looks like this. And the spoon carving knife type has a curve on the cutting edge, so it will look something like this. This is very thin cross section, so I'll draw something that's a bit thinner. A knife is going to be shoved into a surface and will make a cut, and oftentimes you will break the cut off. It doesn't want to come out of the surface. The chisel type edge can be levered out of the cut quite easily, riding on the heel. So typically this is the outside and this is toward the surface that you're carving. So you can push the blade in and then lever it out, riding on the heel of the tool. Having a curve across the back of the blade allows the knife to carve in and scoop out again because there's no sharp heel. So this one would be pushed in and pulled out again, riding on that curve. So the back of the blade, or the way the edge is sharpened, affects the way each type of tool will carve the clay. I'm right-handed, so these tools are sharpened for me. A knife can be used in either hand. However, this edge is sharpened differently than this edge because I'm cutting this way. The same is true with this bent knife. The outside edge is sharpened here, and this edge is dull because I don't push to cut. If I were to push to cut, I could sharpen both sides, but I just turn the pots instead. The same thing is true here. This is sharpened on this side and not this side. I could easily sharpen both sides, so you could push and pull, but I don't need to. These tools stay sharp for a very long time, but there are several ways to sharpen them. Here is a belt sander, and we use this in the studio to sharpen wood and steel tools. And so we'll start sharpening this tool with the belt. You don't want to overheat the steel or you'll lose the temper. That's sharp enough to cut clay. The steel on these tools is very hard, and it's sometimes difficult to file it without the file chattering. The hardness of the file in the tool is about the same. By going slowly like this, you're less likely, I suppose, to mess up the edge, but it's not very hard to do. Most of our tools are really rusty, and clay doesn't stick to the rusty steel, so it's not a bad idea to leave it rusty. I can still see the edge, so it's not quite sharp, but we'll finish sharpening this on a piece of sandpaper. One of the best sharpening tools that woodworkers use frequently is wet-dry sandpaper, and I can finish sharpening the blade on here. You don't need to get it wet, it just works better. It has less drag. Now, how sharp do you need to go? You're not actually cutting something like wood, so this is plenty sharp enough to carve your clay pots. This is ready to be used.